Okay, so rock and roll. So I am extremely happy to have on the guitar channel Mr. Steve Lukather himself. So,
Hey,
Steve, how are you doing today?
Maybe I should just be holding the
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because this way, not only
Excellent.
I feel more
Let me
comfortable.
check. Yeah,
This is like my little safety blanket. This has been my best friend since I was 7 years old. This is one thing that's never let me down. I mean, I may have let it down a few times, but it's a comfortable thing to hold in my hand, you know.
And is that the new setup you have with
This
two
is my
humbuckers?
new L3. See, look there. It just came out, new model. A little bigger body, DiMarzio pickups.
Yeah.
Non-act. These are passive pickups.
So no MG anymore at the moment?
No. I mean, I still use my guitars. I mean, EMG makes great stuff. But Larry DiMarzio really came up with some really, and the guys over it came over here and made me a beautiful guitar. Music Man, my family away from, my home away from home, my best friends. I love this guitar. And this has a little trick switch on it. 10 dB boost right here, just by going.
Okay, so there is an active electronic inside.
Oh, only when I press that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I put that in just because Sterling Ball, who's the big daddy cheese, that Music Man, he came up with the idea. Dudley Gimple and the staff over there put it together. So it's a pretty cool thing, man. It's just come out. It's been getting rave reviews. So quite happy to be with the company now for 20 plus years now.
Excellent. What was I have this traditional first question. What was your first guitar, Steve?
It was a K acoustic guitar bought at Thrifty Drugstore for probably like $5.
Okay.
Which I still have.
Oh, that's cool.
And on my 21st birthday, my parents made it into a lamp and put a little thing on it. It said Steven 1964 was when I first started, and I have it in my guest bedroom.
That's cool. Okay.
And it was really hard to play. I mean, they thought they gave me a copy. They gave me that and a copy of Meet the Beatles, and then I was off to the races from there. That changed my life forever. So they had to. Who knew, right?
You had an incredible, rich career. If you had to pick only, I don't know, a couple of milestones between that very first guitar and the album transition we're going to talk about, what would they be?
I mean, that's impossible, man. I've done so much stuff since. I mean, playing my first gig probably at grammar school, I went from being this kind of really quiet kid, to like all of a sudden people thought I was kind of cool because I played guitars, and at that time being a young musician like that was rare. It wasn't like it is today. Everybody plays the guitar, everybody's in a band, everybody makes a record. That to meeting, to going through life and meeting all my childhood friends, most of who've gone on to have successful careers. And in high school, met the Porcaro brothers, David Page, and I went to school with Mike Landau and John Pierce, and a lot of people that have gone on to have really great careers, and we're all still really good friends. So 40 years ago, all that. Then, of course, studying and really working hard, and all of a sudden getting the opportunity to be asked to join Boz Scaggs' band, which later became Toto, and then having our first hit record, Hold the Line, and then the whole thing happening, man, and then I started doing all the session work, thanks to recommendations from Jeff Porcaro and Paige and David Foster and people like that, and all the local musicians I met that were already legendary studio players, all the guitar players, Jay Graydon, Larry Carlton, Lee Ritenour, Dean Parks, Ray Parker Jr., people like that who took a shine to me and helped me along my way, mentored me, and gave me work, and we're still really all great friends now, and I've had the great honor of playing with all of them and learning from them. So it's a never-ending quest. Then getting a chance to work with all my heroes which now are my friends for the most part, and here, and Toto's rich career. 36 years, 40 if you count high school. Yeah. And here I am in 2012, hoping the world doesn't end on December 21st. Yeah. Hopefully, I've had a fantastic year. I mean, not only have I made this new album transition, but I was asked to go out on G3 with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and later with John Petrucci, 3 of the finest guitar players on planet Earth, and also 3 of the nicest people I've ever known. Certainly I was the wild card guy. I didn't expect me, really. I mean, there's a million guys better than me, but they thought I might add something different to it, and they were buds and wanted me to come out, and I'm deeply grateful and honored to have been added to the list of people that have been on the G3 roster. It's a pretty strong roster of great players. I was very humbled by that. And then I got to play with Ringo, childhood hero, and now a very dear friend and somebody that I look up to as not only the great musician he is, but what the great human being. And he's really my friend, and I'm honored to call him that, you know. And I've learned a lot about getting older gracefully and how to handle yourself. I'm a very healthy person. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything crazy. I train, I sleep, I eat organic foods. Although I'm in France, I'm going to have some good food. You know?
Okay, excellent.
You know, so I'm not, you know, those are my big vice now. Okay, I get to go out and eat some really great food. You know, so cheat on my diet if it were. You know what I mean? Why not, right? You know, if I'm
it's very healthy food we have here. Don't worry.
I know. Yeah. I mean, you don't see fat French people, and you guys eat really rich, fun food. So, but you don't eat like gigantic portions like Americans do. You know. Americans, man, we can learn from everybody. You know what I mean? You know, come on. It's 50 McNuggets for $5 or whatever. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
My God.
Big surprise after that. Yeah.
All right.
How do you keep
you
it
don't
so?
mind if I noodle while we play, right?
Yeah. No, don't. I mean, please go ahead. How do you keep it so fresh? I mean, as you just said, you played with so many incredible stars, and you're not. You're always look so humble and so happy to play with one more player. I mean,
I've had an amazing career, man.
Yeah.
And because I'm really clear of mind, body, and soul now, in the last several years, I think I'm in best physical health of my life, really. You know, but certainly healthier than I was when I was 40. I mean, I did all the crazy rock and roll stuff. You do that, you know, and I got caught up in it a little bit, you know, and I'm actually kind of ashamed and embarrassed that I let some of that get the best of me and didn't play to my full potential, you know, and there's some embarrassing YouTubes and things out there that I've had to relive and take a really hard look at, you know. When you've had a really long career, you know, sometimes, you know, everybody falls down now and then. I was dealing with a lot of deep, depressing bummers back home, loss, and you take this stuff on the road, you know. I mean, you're away from home, you're isolated, you're in a hotel room by yourself. You may go from the highest highs of playing in front of thousands and thousands of people, and then come back to your room by yourself. The loneliness and the little kids, and, you know, Daddy, where are you? And I have older kids and younger kids, and being clear has really helped, and I've fallen in love with the guitar and playing and getting back to what, you know, the original idea and doing what I do best, because technique has gotten so insane. There's so many brilliant players, and the last 3.5 years, 4 years of my 3+ years of my life, I've been back in the woodshed, practicing and refining what it is that I do best, which is, you know, playing the melodic stuff, the phrasing, and not trying to keep up as a speed demon, because, you know, there are so many people that do that better. I mean, you have a tendency to play the way you feel. So if I was angry, depressed, and freaked out, that's how you play. So a default mechanism would be to play too much, and if I had too much to drink, I would be sloppy. I mean, I'm going like, oh, what was I thinking? This is just, you know, you know, it's like filming somebody falling down the stairs. You know what I mean? You go, okay, maybe funny to watch, but if you're the guy that fell down the stairs, it's very painful. When you live in the public eye, that's part of things. I mean, I've had a great career, a lot of wonderful supporters, and in this internet world, you know, people like to chime in and write exactly what they think about you under a fake name, and some of that was painful to watch. And, you know, nobody's a worse critic of me than me. So I'm back to finding my inspiration and being the best me I can be, and I'm really enjoying and appreciating my career. I'm so thankful for it. Probably more so now than I've ever been. And
were you at some point at a cross point, and you had to decide between, okay, I will keep on being a very successful studio musician, or I will do my own thing and will be my own voice more and more? And it seems that as you grow older, you are not afraid anymore to sing and to also record some instrumental stuff, as we're going to talk about in transition, for example.
I never really sat down and thought about all that. I mean, I always wanted to be an artist. Being a studio musician was some of the most fun and greatest times of my life. I'm very honored to be part of that small community, because there's not a very big community over the years. And the session scene right now is pretty much dead. There's not much there anymore. People make records at home. Budgets are cut. I'm really lucky and thankful that I got out and made a solo career as well as Toto. And I get offered to do all these wonderful side projects with like the best of the best. It keeps me frosty, keeps me inspired, and certainly I have all this time on my hands I don't like to waste anymore. You know, life, as you get older, you realize life gets shorter, you know, so you go, I want to do it all, you know. All of a sudden, I'm getting more opportunities and working more now than I was 20 years ago. And I'm in the right frame of mind to do it all and really get excited about it and be up early practicing and writing and trying to make interesting new music for myself. Challenge myself, you know, because sometimes people get older and they just kind of rest on the laurels of their past. They go, well, that was then. You know, I was great back then, but now I'm older, and they make excuses. I can't live with excuses. I got to keep pushing it. You know, there's a lot of people that I admire that are older than me that are still killing it. So, you know, we all have our own voice. If you have your own voice, that's the idea. It's not how fast you can play or, you know, what new trick you know. It's really, do you have your own voice on the guitar? When you play, people go, oh, that sounds like blah, blah, blah. It sounds like, you know that's so-and-so. You know that's, you know, developing a style is what's important. You know?
So let's talk about the solo album that which is going to be released in Europe in January 2013.
It's being released worldwide January 21st, but it may be the 18th, it may be the 23rd. I don't know, somewhere in there. It's that week, you know.
Okay, so it's called Transition. Are you transitioning from one life to another, or it's just what is the inspiration of the title?
It's a total change of life. I mean, the last album, All's Well That Ends Well, I was very proud of that record, but I was probably depressed beyond belief. I mean, I dealt with the loss of my mother, the loss of my marriage. I was getting healthy again. I was dealing with a lot of anger and insecurity and emotional, personal stuff that was coming out of me. When you get clear, that all the things you stuff down come out. Now, a few years later, I'm feeling better, you know. I'm healthier. I probably look better, you know. I mean, in the sense of my sparkle behind my eyes, my smile's back, you know. I've made friends with some of the demons and exorcised some of the demons, and I can laugh at it and learn from it. And now I feel like I'm like, okay, man, I've got a little good vibe back in my walking down the street. I'm like, hey, it's okay, smiling. Okay. Yeah, and so that's the transition from light to dark, from darkness to light, I mean.
And how did you compose all the song on the record? Is it first the lyrics, then the melody, or it depends on...
No, man, the very first thing we did on the album was Judgment Day. It's almost like the running order of the record is how we wrote it. Okay. The first song we wrote was Judgment Day. I mean, we sat down, it's C.J. Vanston, who's my co-writer, co-producer, keyboard player, and engineer. One of the more talented people I've ever known in my life. You know, we just said, no rules. I'm not trying to write a top 40 hit single. I just want to make an artistic statement, you know, because Toto's not making records at this point, and you know, I still have a lot of fresh music, you know, and I really wanted to challenge myself to. A lot of people said, "Hey, man, your last album was great. Wow, you know, and people going, "Is he going to do it again? Is he going to get better?" Now, better or worse, I guess that's up to the listener. But I think I challenged myself, or we challenged ourselves together, you know, to try to make things harmonically interesting, but not like so muso that you lose everybody. You know what I mean by that, right? So we just came up. So these are sounds that you don't normally hear on.
Yeah. And Judgment Day and Creep Motel are kind of dark-sounding sounds. When you listen to that, there's
I mean, you know, there's I'm coming out of that angry period in my life, and I'm viewing the world with fresh eyes. And some of it, you know, like, you know, Creep Motel's about the internet creeps that just go on there and hate everybody. You know what I mean? They hide behind these fake names, and I'm making fun of that as well. You know, Fee Waybill from the Tubes helped me with the lyrics on that, and he's always got that biting wit. You know, we've been working together since 1980. The first one was specifically about about people that have, you know, people have a tendency to write whatever they want to write, or you know, everything you read on the internet you think is true, but it's not. And if you tell a lie enough times, it becomes the truth. There's like, oh, it's an old cliche or pearl of wisdom from the ancient days or whatever, and that stands true. And I was called out on something that I didn't do, and the person that did it has a hatred for me that I will never understand, but nonetheless is there. So you're right about things like that. I mean, I'm not going to say who it is. I mean, it could be about a lot of people, actually. You know, we've all been wronged in life, and you know, people that listen to this stuff can relate to it. You know what I mean? And then as the record progresses, it gets a little happier. That's again the transition. You know what I mean?
And then it ends with a smile, which is a super great instrumental song with some very nice Jeff Beck articulation. You never hided your admiration for Jeff. So how did you compose a smile, and why not more instrumental songs? Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a beautiful melody. My mother loved this stuff, you know. And it's also, when I was going through my darkest time, you know, I would put a clown face on. Like, you know, I'd be like, drunk guy walking down, hey, let's party, woo, Luke's crazy guy. But I come back to my room with tears in my eyes. So the opening line of that song, lyrically speaking, is, you know, smile when your heart is breaking. Well, you know, you lose your mom, you know, your heart breaks, you know, but you have to smile through this because I got little kids, and I have to forgive my past and all the rest of that, you know. And it was alive. It was recorded live.
Okay.
See, you know,
one take, and
one take guitar, man. No overdubs, no fixes. It's a little, you know, it's maybe rough sometimes, but that was the point. It's a little painful, you know. And I think that the emotion thing was much more important to me than any perfection that might be lacking. But that was Steve Weingart and I, and then CJ added just a little bit of color and changed some of the sounds on the keyboards. But that was just CJ, Steve Weingart and I at the studio playing together in the same room. We did a couple takes, and that was the one we got, and I left it. I thought that was a really nice way to wind the album down. And I started ending my shows with it towards the end of my last solo tour, and it got a really positive reaction. People were like, you should record that, you should record that. So it may become a standard thing that I play at the end of the night, because it's something that it's an emotion we all feel. We all, you know, have pain in our lives, and we try to smile through it. So it's a beautiful song, you know.
But it's the only one on the album. It looks like it is okay. It is at the end of the album. It's not hidden or anything, but it's there. But still, I keep listening to all the album and to that specific song, to smile and say, wow, I wish there was some more smile or some more instrumental song from Luke. Are you still kind of shy of your instrumental side?
I might do one someday, but I always felt that, like, there's guys that do it better. You have Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and Jeff Beck, and people that make, and Mike Landau, Wayne Krantz, people like that make these brilliant instrumental records. I could go on listing, you know, all of our favorite guys, you know, and that really can keep your interest for an entire album. I sing, I play. I mean, I'm just doing what I dig doing. I have a lot to say lyrically, so I'm getting better as a lyricist. I'm not shy about revealing myself or giving my feelings about how I view the world, because I've lived life a lot, you know what I mean? So I have something to say, and I like to sing. I've been working really hard on my singing, so I felt like singing. You know?
Yeah,
I think that's what I have that those other guys don't necessarily have, and they're already so good. I think there's a lot of great instrumental guitar records out there that I'm not in that competition anymore. You know, I wish I could play like Guthrie Govan, but I don't. You know,
I think you are being very modest.
And a brilliant musician. I mean, I could keep naming names because there's so many great ones.
And it's true that on many songs there are some very nice lyrics, but also some incredible solos here and there. It's not just the regular pop song recipe with, okay, I am Luke, so I have to do a crazy solo, then I keep on singing again. There is this whole construction. So did you have some kind of architecture view to your song?
I was very conscious of trying to make say more with less. Like, how would I define the chords? How would I do something interesting phrasing-wise, rather than, I mean, I had more restraint of staying away from over flashiness, you know what I mean, just shredding for the sake of it. I really wanted to do some, I wanted people's head to go, oh wow, I didn't expect that, that's cool. And that was what I tried to accomplish, and I think in a couple of solos, and I tried to keep as much of it live. You know, we there was a couple put together. So I would play a few takes, and then CJ would go home. Let me sort through this, and I'd come back and I go, oh, that's good, you know, or I'd go, oh man, come on, man, that's not, I would never play like that. So let me take the idea and do it again. So I would do it until it was right, you know, until I felt like I'm really hard on myself, you know. But I'm not making records just for guitar players, but the ones that listen, I know they're going to be listening with big ears, and they expect a lot, you know, and I want them to go, wow. That's fresh. It's not just the same old licks and the same old tricks or whatever like that, you know. and I'm very proud of the record so far. You know what I mean? If I can say that without sounding weird. You know?
And how do you avoid to overplay? Is it by having someone else taking a listen to what you do? Say, okay, look, you are going too far.
These two fingers together,
okay,
so that I purposely can't. And I put my hand in a
okay, so you play Django Reinhardt style,
the
and
thing is, you know, the tendency live is to get excited for the moment, and sometimes, you know, everybody plays a little bit more live than they probably would listening in the studio. I think I was very careful to realize that, you know, people are gonna listen to this more than once. And I wanted to be able to go, I'm proud of that, and not go, ooh, I wish I had fixed that part or something like that. You have that. That's the difference between, you know, making records and playing live. You know, making records, you can sit back like a painting and reshade and fix. And live is like Formula One racing. You know, if you crash, you have to keep driving. You know what I mean? Unless you've completely killed yourself, and it's like, you know, going. People make mistakes live, and you laugh, and you keep going for it. You know, I don't want to Xerox my part in every night, so it's the same solo every night. So when you're really in the moment, sometimes you nail it, and if you miss it, you know, guitar players understand that. You know, they know you're going for it. You know, I've seen some of my favorite musicians make mistakes, and I don't sit in the audience going, "Hey, he made a mistake," but they do. I saw that. They do that on the internet, though. You know, but you know, whatever. That's par for the course. I mean, it's the world we live in. You know?
So let's talk about gear. What were your secret tone recipes on the album?
There's no secrets, man. It was like either this guitar or the one with the 2 single coils, which are the DiMarzios that I used. And I plugged straight into a Bogner Ecstasy with a Ernie Ball volume pedal. I've always been a volume pedal guy for some reason. I always liked the expression of it. So most guys, they use this. But, you know, this way I have my hands free to do picking, hybrid picking of fingers and or using a plectrum like this. But otherwise, all the effects or all that stuff were done post-production and plugins on the... we use Logic, not Pro Tools, because it's just easier to deal with.
So your gain is coming in from the...
When I mixed the album, we mixed a 1/2-inch 2-track tape to give it that little... When I was mastering, you know, it just gives it a little... I like seeing the tape machine going. It does something to the sound that I can't even articulate what that is, but it was positive. When we A-B'd, I said, no, I want the tape. Okay. Give me a little analog love, you know.
And so the gain you have on the album is coming from the amp, no booster also, in front of the amp?
No, I didn't use anything. As a matter of fact, I purposely backed off the high gain thing. You know, I wanted to get a little bit more tone. And with these not organic, there are all organic pickups, but with the passive pickups, the lower mids came back up. You know, I wasn't scooping out the mid-range and stuff like that like I had 20 years ago. And if we used an effect, I wanted it to be something noticeable, not just some subtle double track of, you know, simulation, you know. I did double track and layer some tones on the record and had some fun doing that. And CJ had all these neat new plugins and stuff like that. So we try things once in a while. The whole intro of the album before Judgment Day, that was a morning that we spent just trying all these different plugins. And I said, I'm going to do it all in the key of A, so maybe we can use it somewhere. And so I did like 10, 11 tracks of just, you know, the new Adrenaline and new other things. And then we put up all the tracks, and that became, by accident, this whole intro before the
before the theme, the main theme.
And that's that. They're pounding on the door. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So one last question. I mean, so your next project after that is going to release the album in January. Then you're going to tour all over the place.
I'm going to rehearse the band, my solo band, in January. Then I go out to New Zealand, Australia, and Japan with Ringo. Okay. And then I come back and we do 2 months in Europe. Then I go back and rehearse Toto for the 35th anniversary through October. And then there's a whole through 2015. It's kind of the same thing, you know. So I'm very, very lucky to have a big world tour coming up with Toto and my solo stuff. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think we're going to be thrown out of the room. So one last question. So you are using a lot of the internet. We even exchange a couple of tweets, and you also present on Facebook. So is that a pain in the butt for you to do that, or it's just a natural way to be in contact with your fans?
My 25-year-old son, Trev, who's on the album and co-wrote and played on Right the Wrong and all that stuff, he's a great musician. He's also very involved in, you know, he's a young man, so he knows how this all works. He said 2 years ago when the last album came out, he said, you got to be on this stuff, Dad. You got to be on Facebook, Twitter, and you got to do stuff. At first, I got a little too into it, and it got a little scary because some people would like show up at my house, and they go, "It's kind of crazy people." Most people are really nice, and I would use it to answer their questions and stuff like that. And I may come back, and I'm easing back into that, but I do post every day on Twitter, and it goes all the way across. It's very important to be a part of this, and I've seen my Facebook grow from 10,000 people to 90,000 people in just 2 years, just by getting into it. And I've seen the results of it in a positive way, of people coming to shows or dispelling rumors about me that aren't true, what kind of gear I use.
So
most 99.9% of the people are really great and friendly and nice, and I like interacting with them. There's only takes a few crazy people, you know what I mean? You look around the world, it only takes a few crazy people to mess it up for everybody else. So beware of the loonies in your life, but thank you to everybody else who's been supportive. I really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve, for your time.
Thanks, brother.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.